this one's a really important part of the process. This is our spinning mule. So we find it upstairs in the spinning room, the top floor of the factory. If you want to see what that room might have looked like, you can check out this copy of the engraving from the very early 1800s. And you'll see straight away that, again, this machine, has been cut to fit in our gallery. In the factory, this machine would be 10 times longer. That means it wouldn't even have fit in this room. Absolutely massive, and they always came in pairs. So they can make a lot of this thread. Now, the way that it works, really quick before we turn it on, we've got all of our roving along the back. It's coming down through another set of rollers and down onto all of these spindles on the front. Those spindles are on a carriage. You can see it's got wheels and there's a track on the floor. So this carriage is going to roll out. As it does, it's going to pull all of the cotton behind, and the spindles are going to turn around. As they do, they'll add that twist to our cotton. When the carriage gets to the end, a metal bar will push the threads down and they'll get wound back on. So we spin and twist on the way out, and we wind and gather on the way back in. You can make a lot of thread very, very quickly. So let's get the machine on, and then we'll have a little chat about the people working with this machine. If you fancy it, maybe have a count of how long it takes the carriage to roll out and back in again. And I'll mention why that's important afterwards. How long does it take that carriage to go out back in again? Roughly. Guesses? 10 seconds, maybe? Say that again? Yeah, 6 seconds back and forth, yeah? Just like a few more seconds than that, between 6 and 15, shall we say, if you're being really, really generous. It's not long at all, right? So the people that work in this factory, in this room of the factory, they're all going to be walking all of the time. Because if you look at this picture, where one machine ends, the next one begins. And as one comes out, the other one goes back, and forwards, and back, forwards, and back. So you have to keep moving all of the time, otherwise you're going to be somewhere where a machine's going to end up. There's people fixing these threads when they break. That's not such a difficult job, but you're going to be working backwards half of the time, putting your hands inside the machine. But the most dangerous job, maybe in the entire factory, is for this person here. In the corner of the picture. That person's called a scavenger. You might be able to see they're holding a little brush. This is another cleaning job. And they're mostly going to be cleaning the floor. Again, getting up all of that flammable cotton dust, getting up any oil, any spare bits of cotton that we can save for later. But they can't do it from the front of the machine, because they'll get under the feet of the other pieces, the spinners and the pieces, the other workers in the room. So instead, they have to wait behind the machine, and as the carriage rolls out, they crawl into the gap, about that high, with their little brush, hands and knees on the floor, clean up as quick as they can, turn around and get out again before the carriage slams shut. And they've got about 10-15 seconds to do it. Now you want someone as small and as fast as possible for this job, so who do you think we're going to give it to? Children. Absolutely right. Again, children as young as 5 years of age. These would very often be orphans from the local orphanages, hired by the mill owner as an apprentice to the mill, except of course they probably wouldn't be making any money. They might just be given some food and a place to sleep on the factory floor. Incredibly dangerous work, incredibly difficult living conditions. But unfortunately, for our mill owner, what we're concerned with is this stuff, the stuff that we've made. And we've come a very long way from the plant that we started with. If you were here with us then, we finally got something that was strong enough to weave into cloth. And that's what we're going to do on the very last machine. If you'd like to follow us down just to the end of the gallery. So this machine here that we're looking at, it's a little bit smaller. Now, interestingly, you actually probably wouldn't find this machine in the factory factory with the other ones that we've been talking about. You'd find this machine, it's a loom, a power loom, you'd find it in a weaving shed, which is a separate single-storey building. And the reason for that is that these machines vibrate so much, if you put them upstairs, they can shake the whole building apart. So you need a whole separate building just for these machines. And the way that it works is that you've got a load of threads going in one direction called your warp threads. That's all of the threads that you guys can see at the front there going from E to U. And then the traditional hand weaving, you take another thread called your weft thread, and you go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, all of your warp threads in the opposite direction. Now the problem is, if you do that 1,800 times, which is how many warp threads you've got here, it will take forever. So we have a much cleverer system where we use these sets of wires, keels or heddles, and every single one of these wires has got a tiny hole in it. What that means is you can put all of your warp threads, each one goes to its own little hole, say all of the odd ones with the wires at the front, even ones at the back. That means you can lift half of your threads up, lower the other half. Then if you put your weft thread through the middle, you're still going over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one. You're just doing it much faster. Swap them over, send it back. Swap them over, send it back. You can make a lot of cloth that way very quickly. The thing where we're keeping our weft thread is over here on one side. This is what we've just made on our mule. It's inside something called a shuttle, a solid piece of wood tipped with metal. And there is our lovely bobbin of thread. So this is going to be flying backwards and forwards inside the machine at about 45 miles an hour. There we go, showing you how difficult it is to change these. There we go. So if your thread runs out, grab a fresh one from on top and put it back in the machine. We're leaving the thread behind as it goes. So let's see our last machine in action. I'm going to put a little pencil mark here, just so we can see how much cotton we're making in a very short period of time. This is the oldest and most delicate machine that we have for the demonstration. It is 130 years old next year, which is quite exciting. We're going to be very careful with it. So here we go. So in a very short period of time, we've made a good 2 or 3 inches of cotton cloth. Now this machine came from a weaving shed where there were 1,000 of these machines working 6 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day, and these weaving sheds were all over this part of the country. So you can imagine how much of this stuff we were making. The big number is at the height of the industry in 1912, Manchester and Lancashire between them in 1 year made 4.5 million miles of cotton cloth. That's enough to wrap around the entire world 180 times, and at that point it was 70% of the entire world's cotton goods, which is just a phenomenal number. Nowadays, we make less than 1% of the world's cotton goods in this part of the world, but the legacy of this industry lives on in so many ways. Textiles research is still massive in this city. University of Manchester discovered the thinnest and strongest material in the world not so long ago, that'd be graphene. This industry made Manchester world famous, put us on the map a very long time before certain football clubs were ever even dreamt of. But most importantly, the people that worked in these factories are the ones that fought for things like health and safety law, which we complain about a bit today, but really does help keep us safe. They fought for benefits, they fought for holiday pay, sick pay, shorter working days, better working conditions, and they're the ones that fought to get children, often their own children, out of the factories and into full-time education, which is probably the best legacy of them all, really. Thanks so much for coming, guys. If you've got any questions about anything I've talked about,